Hi, fantastic friends. I don't know how to start this video. Okay. So, okay. Good morning, beautiful people. Struggling trying to figure out how to start this video, so I think I'm just going to start by thanking you. Thank you so much for supporting me. For all my subscribers, thank you. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for liking my videos. It means more to me than I can actually express. I'm not very good at receiving, if that makes any sense to you. I'm very humbled by it, and I'm very grateful, and I just want you to know how important you are to me. You really are very important to me, and I hope that these videos are contributing to your journey somehow and help draw you closer to God and Jesus. And today's video is, I guess it's probably the most surprising video that I've made. You know, it's crazy when you look outside, you see how beautiful this world is. It's hard to imagine how wicked it is, too. Everything in the video that you're about to see, I believe, is 100% true. And the amount of interference that was run, well, I mean, it appears that interference was run in the making of the video is just, well, it's quite telling. But that's why God said, you know, don't be discouraged. I am with you always. He says when we get distraught and overwhelmed, just to go outside and experience nature. And science backs that up. Say 20 minutes in nature is as effective as a Prozac. More effective, I'm sure. I know how wicked this world can be. I know how evil people can be. I know how easy it is to be discouraged. And I just want you to know that I'm here for you as well. I'm going to put my email address in the descriptions. If you need anything, even if you just need somebody to talk to, you just hit me up anytime. I mean it. We're all in this together. We all have to help pull each other up, right? Up towards heaven. Because there are so many forces that keep pulling us down. I hope that you can gain some information from this video. It certainly enlightened me, and a lot of what I have believed for a long time has been corroborated by the two gentlemen that you're about to listen to. We just got to keep our chins up, friends. We just have to keep the faith. We have to keep praying and fasting. Walking with God as best we can. And not be afraid. I hope you enjoy the video. And seriously, if you need anything, just send me an email. I'm here for you. God bless you. Love you. Have a great
in the game today. I got two amazing guests about to join me, William Sneblin and Craig Lund. Craig Lund is the author of Silicone Satan. Great book on Amazon. If you haven't read it, you got to go there, pick it up. It's an amazing book. He was a software engineer. He knows all the elites. He saw a lot of rituals. He saw a lot of things. and he's a big whistleblower. William Sneblin is the same in his own right. A 92nd degree Mason. How many of you even knew that it went that high? 92nd degree Mason, high priest of Wicca, basically a satanic priest. Okay, he's since reformed. He's a born again Christian. Both these men are Christian men, and they're here to blow the whistle on what's happening in our world today. And we're going to discuss Iran prophecy, the third temple. Where is this all headed? Where is all this going? Because we know, my audience knows, we all know this is just not sitting right. You're Craig Lund and William Sneblin. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, so let's just give a little background on both of you. Let's start first with William. William, do you want to just give your you want to give your story, just a recap on who you are, what you've been through, your background, just a little bit for my audience?
Well, I'll try and keep it somewhat brief, but yeah, I started out as a cradle Catholic, very devout little boy, wanted to be a priest, and went to minor seminary college, to pursue that vocation, if you will. And right off the bat, I had a theology professor who was a priest, trained in the Vatican, and he told me if I wanted to be a priest, I had to be like Christ, which, makes sense. But he told me that Jesus had gone and studied with the lamas in Tibet and with the gurus in India, the siddhis, and also had gone to Egypt to study with the magicians in Egypt. And that's, from all of that knowledge, is how he was able to do the miracles that he did. So he said, if I wanted to follow in the footsteps of the master, so to speak, that I should study the occult. Now, mind you, this was in 1968 and no internet, so I poked around. I found a few books on the occult. And one of them was a book called King of the Witches by June Johns, and it detailed the life of this guy, Alex Sanders, over in Britain, who claimed to be the king of the witches. So I wrote him. His wife responded, gave me an address of a coven here nearby in Rockford, Illinois. I went there. I was made a priest of Wicca. That was in 1968. In 1973, I was made a high priest. This was in the Alexandrian Rite of Wicca, which is, they have denominations in Wicca just like every other spiritual organization. And I went and started covens in all up and down the western coast of Lake Michigan, most notably in Milwaukee. I initiated over 175 women into witchcraft, white witchcraft. But along the way, the guy who owned the occult bookstore in town, it was kind of like the nexus of all the occult activity, as you can imagine, he told me I should read the Satanic Bible. And I thought, well, witches don't even believe in Satan. That's what, we say, that's what we're told. He said, well, there's a lot of really good stuff in this book. You got to read it. So I did. He gave me a free copy of it. And I liked what I was reading. And again, the thing everybody needs to understand with the occult is like a drug. You get something like, they talk about how marijuana is like kind of a gateway drug. And then from there you get it. Well, it's the same way with the occult. The New Age, the white light, the Wicca stuff, all this airy-fairy stuff, that's like a gateway drug. But you want more. And that's why I ended up joining the Church of Satan. I became a warlock, second degree in the Church of Satan. But that wasn't enough. And there you go, Satanic Bible. And anyhow, I ended up getting involved with hardcore Satanists like the Order of the Black Ram, the Ordo Capricornus Nigra, and also the Brotherhood, which was in Chicago. And they took me into more dark stuff where I ended up selling my soul to the devil. I had some horrific experiences, which we can get into, but I basically was quote unquote enlightened by Lucifer. And it transformed my life in a very negative way. And I was really in a very dark downward spiral, including drinking blood, involved in animal sacrifices.
Did you ever drink human blood?
Oh, a lot. A lot. I was basically, I was supposedly, okay, let me explain. I got to a certain point climbing up, or if you will, down the ladder of Satanism, and I was told that if I wanted to go further, I either would have to go the route of being a lycanthrope, in other words, a shapeshifter, werewolf, or whatever, on one hand, or I had to go the route of being a vampire on the other hand. And I decided to go with a vampire because.
But hold on, those are just mythology creatures, right? Or are they? Would you say they're?
No, they're real. They're real enough to kill people, especially the werewolves. They're like the assassins of Satanism. They're the ones.
I've seen trail cams with the dog man. Does that have any connection?
It may very well. I know what you mean, and that might be part of it. But these people, they try to keep very low on the radar, but they're real and they're very scary. And they could literally rip a person apart like tissue paper. They're as big as a grizzly bear. Yeah, that kind of looks like what they look like. They don't look like the old, Lon Chaney movies from the 1940s. I mean, they look like that.
So you're you're telling my audience, you're telling me these are absolutely real.
Oh yeah, they're as real as a heart attack.
I've heard they're interdimensional. I've heard they're almost like the Sasquatch. They're able to blend into dimensions, come in and out of dimensions.
That may be true. Yeah, again, it's not my area of expertise. I've just had a couple of them try to attack me over the years, and thankfully Yeshua is much more powerful than they are, and they're terrified of him. But anyway, so I'm in this deep dark place, and I sent a check off to the Church of Satan for my annual dues. And when I got the check back from the bank, in the check, the lady that had processed the check had written on it, "I'll be praying for you in Jesus' name." And of course, I just sneered at that. I thought that was stupid, threw it in the file and forgot about it. Well, literally within a day or two, my whole life fell apart. I lost all my occult power because, believe me, occult power is real. Magic is real, but it's powered by demons. It's not like these new age types will tell you, oh, it's this inner force like the Force, in Star Wars, and you can just channel and do stuff. I mean, it's from demons. And anyway, I lost it all. I lost my job. I felt sick as a dog. And the next day, I got a phone call from these two girls, teenage Satanist chicks down in Chicago, which is like about 90 miles from where I lived in Milwaukee. And they said, "Can we come up and see you? We hear you're this great satanic priest, blah, blah, blah." So, okay, they said they had a present for me. And since I just lost my job, I figured, well, maybe they're going to give me some money. So they came up to see me, and they came and they brought me these two Christian comic books from Chick Publications, I'm sure you've all heard of, Spellbound and Angel of Light. Now, can you imagine, two Satanists giving you Christian comics? And they said, "You've got to read these things. They're so stupid. They're Neanderthal," and they'd written like obscene things in the margins and made the people look cross-eyed and all of that. Again, I just threw it in the drawer and forgot about it. Well, the next day, Mormon missionaries showed up. And I kind of skipped over the fact that back in 1973, I was down in Arkansas studying under the Grand Druid of North America, and he told us if we ever got into trouble, that we should join the Mormon Church, because the Mormon Church was founded by witches for witches, so that we could hide out in that church and appear to be nice, straight Christian, all-American Norman Rockwell type people. And so we joined the Mormon Church. And I became an elder. I really got into it. I mean, I gave up the dope. I gave up the cocaine. I stopped doing orgies. But because I had been told that the leadership of the Mormon Church were all white witches, I kept doing the white witchcraft thing. And I went to the temple in Salt Lake City, which is kind of like, the Cadillac of Mormon temples. And the thing is like a satanic Disneyland.
So you're telling me right now that Mormons, a lot of them, I guess it's like the Masons, the lower level, mid-level don't know what's going on at the highest level. But you're telling me at the highest level, Mormons are Satanists?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What?
And yeah, and I know it's hard to believe, but in the course of this, this Druid guy gave us some secret words to feed into the Mormon temple at Salt Lake, and we did that. And as a result of that, the whole temple was shut down except for us. We were allowed to go through, excuse me, the endowment, they call it, the ritual. We were married for time and all eternity in the secret rooms with all of weird mirrors and everything. And then they had me go and meet with the president of the temple, who's this big shot, and he in turn arranged us to have a meeting with one of the 12 apostles. Now, this is at the very top hierarchy of the Mormon church, right under the prophet. And I'll tell you the name of the guy. It was Elder James Faust. Believe it or not, his name was Faust. And if you know anything about occult history, you know that Faust is the name of a famous fictional sorcerer who sold his soul to the devil. But it just happened to be this guy's name by coincidence. In any event, we told him that we had had dreams and visions where there was like satanic type stuff going on in the temple, where there was like this naked young girl on an altar and people were chanting and all around her and all of this stuff. You know what this guy said? He said that I bear you my solemn testimony, which is a big deal for a Mormon to say that what you have said is true, that Lucifer is the god of the Mormon temple. And that if you, if you like play your cards right, if you move out here to Salt Lake, because at this time we were living in Milwaukee, he could find a place for us very high up in the Mormon hierarchy, serving, quote unquote, in the temple.
Wow.
So fortunately, before that happened, a few things happened where we ended up having to leave Milwaukee, go to Dubuque, which is where I'm living now. And anyhow, along the way, I went to a prophecy seminar because I thought I could go there and steal some sheep. Because I thought, I'm in a church that has a living prophet. These dumb Christians are doing a prophecy seminar and I can dazzle them with my knowledge of Scripture. So I went there, and it was the first time in my life that I ever encountered a Christian that really knew the Bible. And no matter what I did, he had an answer for it. And finally, I challenged him and I said, well, where do you get the authority to baptize people so they can be saved? Because Mormons believe that either you've got the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, which claims to go all the way back to Simon Peter, and they're up to the present day. But a lot of people believe that the Catholic Church went kerflooey, and so Joseph Smith, the Mormons believe, came along and restored the true church in 1830. So I asked him, where do you get the authority to do this stuff? You don't have this priesthood from Joseph Smith. You don't have the Catholic priesthood. So, and he said, just look at Acts 16:31. Believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, and you'll be saved. And at that moment, that was like the arrow, the scriptural arrow that went through my magic Mormon underwear, and bam, it hit my heart. I went home. I prayed and fasted for a few days, and finally the Holy Spirit brought those comic books to mind. And I got those comic books out from the bottom of the closet and, knelt at the foot of the bed and prayed the prayer that's in the back, the Jesus prayer, so to speak, to get saved, and I was born again. And that was in 1984. And of course, I had to go through a lot of deliverance later, found a pastor and his wife, Foursquare pastors, that helped me get free from all the demonic stuff I had been involved in. And then I got in with Ed Decker, who is the author of the God Makers book, which is a seminal work from the evangelical perspective on the dangers of Mormonism. And he ended up hiring me as an associate. I worked there for 5 years. And then finally, we started With One Accord, which is the ministry we're running to this day.
I imagine that might be a lot to take in for some people, but I want to focus in a little bit on the lycanthropy, more specifically shape-shifting. Check out this video. And then tomorrow I'm going to try to put together a part 2 because there's a lot more to this interview.
In times, people believed in the possibility of transforming their forms, but that wisdom was kept hidden, only known to a select few. Today, we call them occult scientists, and they had incredible methods. Across distant lands, shamans practiced the art of transformation, becoming eagles and wolves, connecting with nature's power. They could control other forms, like releasing a vibrant chicken to carry out tasks for them. But in the mystical land of India, the occult scientists adopted a different approach, using control techniques to harness the power of nature. Hanuman lifted an entire mountain to save Lakshmana. He flew across oceans, leapt across mountains, and even shrank himself to the size of a thumb to enter Ravana's fortress. He didn't transform to other beings himself, but skillfully used mystical methods to achieve incredible feats. Today, people across the globe, even world leaders, embrace Hanuman as a source of inspiration and victory.
That was it, Barack Obama. Now, there's a reason why Barack Obama was featured. It's because he is, in fact, one of these shapeshifters. I know a woman who can see them. Some people can see them. And she watched him transform into a reptilian on Inauguration Day. Okay, so I want to share this woman's testimony with you. She's a remarkable woman. She's an ex-con, and she witnessed a werewolf. She also casts out demons. So check this out.
Book here, The Serpent and the Soul. That's your most recent book?
That's the most recent, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about your testimony here. Did you get saved in prison? Is that where you got saved?
Okay, so, my aunt was the first one in our family to become, acquainted with Jesus and learn about the scriptures and receive him as her savior. And so she started, evangelizing the rest of the family, including my mom and my family. And I can remember at that time we lived in Hawaii. And so she came to visit us and we were at the beach. And she basically told me, okay, look, pray this prayer, Lord Jesus, I receive you into my heart. I admit I'm a sinner. I didn't have any clue what I was doing, but I felt like I was supposed to, believe her and say this prayer. But it's not like it took instantly. You hear people's testimonies and some people have this radical encounter and they're never the same again and they never turn back. I actually said that prayer and stumbled into deep sin, rebellion, drugs, alcohol, sexual sin, you name it, all of it. And my life just went into a whole career criminal, all of that. So having Jesus, the seed planted in me, it took a while for it to produce fruit. Yeah. But I do remember that.
Okay, so I want to fast forward to her story about the werewolf.
That's really.
And ask them, I didn't even ask them, did you remember this? Blah, blah, blah. I asked, so do you remember anything about, and they texted me back my story that I've been telling. Okay. All right. And one of them involved a werewolf and boy, okay, so here we go. Okay, and then I got to tell the story about the mountain lion too. So don't let me forget. Okay, so there was this woman, and she was just such an amazing person who had been with her family. Her family was the highest level of coven activity in 2 states. And she was raised to be the bride of Satan, okay? And so that meant having babies for them to sacrifice, being wed to Satan himself. I mean, like horrible things. And these people lying to her, abusing her, putting programs and triggers in her, putting programming in her, and all of these other things. And she happened to be in a place that I went. I ran away from the state I was living in to go live at this certain place where I had some friends that were living there to run away from, hide from the cops. She had come to that property too, so that the people who had owned it could minister to her. And so she could hide and run away from the coven. She wanted to escape. So I met her there. And I would go up and hang out. She had a mobile home there. I would go up and hang out at her house with her kids, and we'd make popcorn, and me and her would drive into town and get pies from Marie Callender's. I really like this person. She's such an amazing human being. Okay, and she loves the Lord. Okay, and I was at her house one night at the mobile home, And when I left, something came running down the hill. It was a snowy night. So the moon is reflecting off the snow, and it was like running like that. And I was turning around and was like, what is this? And it was an upright being, but it was hairy like an animal, but running upright. And so I take off. I'm like, man, adrenaline rush. And I'm running down the hill to the house that I was staying in. And the driveway was very steep. When I hit the driveway, the snow would melt and then it would form a sheet of ice. When it would get cold again from the water. I hit that driveway and I went like literally tobogganing down to the bottom, and probably saved my life because this thing's chasing me.
Yeah.
And I went down to the basement, which is where I was staying, and my room had no windows, and I was like peeking out the door, waiting for it to like come through the sliding glass doors in the basement. Well, I found out later, and I'll try to skip over that part just because, it's to save time. But later on, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell the people that owned the house. I didn't tell this woman, nothing. What I saw, I thought, I'm coming off of drugs. I'm hallucinating really badly, obviously. So I didn't tell anybody. But later on, when I was with that woman again, and we were driving up the windy road, the dirt road in the forest to get there, I looked and saw this thing running alongside the car again in the tree line. And I didn't say anything. And I sat there and looked in the car. And then she goes, oh, there it is again. And I'm like, what? And she goes, it's a werewolf and it's following me. It was there because of her.
Okay.
Because werewolves are...
She was part of a coven.
Because she was trying to escape the coven.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what they use werewolves for. They use them as punishers, assassins. If somebody disobeys in the coven, you have to deal with those beings. They go and take care of business in a horrible way, right? Yeah. So it had been sent for her. Okay, so, and I have the text. I can't show them right now because it's a private conversation and I won't violate her. But we had to talk about it. And
just last night?
This morning.
Just this morning, wow.
Just this morning. And I have not talked to her for like 26 years.
Wow.
Right. I've had brief texts with her, but nothing like at all about this.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so it was there for her. Okay. So there's another day when, okay, let me interrupt and tell this part now. This part is connected.
Yeah.
So this place where I was staying was a church. People came to go to church there. And it also had rooms where I was staying and all that other stuff. And so people came to church every Wednesday and Saturday there, and they had a little school there and everything else like that. So there was this couple that came there, and they were young. They were more my age. They were wild. I was wild. I had just escaped from, being career criminal, crime on the street, and I was running there to hide. I'm totally wild. I'm coming off of drugs, and they were wild too. So we kind of all gravitated towards each other, and we would start and play pool and stuff down in the basement. There was a pool table, and one day they said to me, "Hey, do you want us to bring down the snowmobile so that you can ride up the hill to see our A-frame that we built up at the top of the hill?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, anything with a motor and wheels, put me on it, right?" So the husband goes and gets these two snowmobiles, and me and the wife rip up this road all the way to this A-frame that they built. Now, I have not told these parts of the story because I'm just myself putting it together after 26 years. They had built a house near what was called the Dome. This is a real thing. It really exists in this mountain area where people live. It's a dome that houses Tibetan monk bones. There's like 6 of them in the entire earth. And they say, I haven't seen this, that when you lay out a map and you draw the lines, the power lines connecting them, they form a pentagram. Okay. So these people had built a house right next to the dome, an A-frame house.
Wow.
Why would they do that? Because they want people like that, witches, warlocks, covens, they want to tap in to a power source. I mean, when you got connecting domes all over the earth that connect power lines, you're connecting into a major power source.
Yeah.
So I go up there and I don't know anything about that kind of stuff at this time, right? This is years ago. I wasn't even saved, barely, I believed in the Lord, but that was it. And we go in, and it's me and the wife. The husband was still down at the place where he dropped off the snowmobiles. And she's like, okay, come on, let me show you around the A-frame. And she goes, we're going to go upstairs and see the view. I'm like, fine, great. And as I'm going up this ladder, there's all these huge barrels. And I know what it is. I'm from prison. We used to make hooch in prison, man, in milk cartons. I'm like, so what's up with all the hooch? She's like, oh, it's just a little bit, so we can have a little bit of fun. I'm like, I thought Christians don't drink. And she's like, oh, it's just a little bit. And I'm like, a little bit? For real? And I just like, okay, whatever, because I'm wild, so I don't really care if you got barrels and barrels of hooch in your house.
Yeah.
So I go up the stair, the ladder, we go in. The whole room is just basically a mattress. And we have to crawl across this mattress to the window. We're looking out the window. And she goes, this is my favorite view. Every night, me and my husband, we walk to the dome. We just love walking to the dome because this view is just amazing and fantastic. And I go, yeah, it is. It is totally amazing. And she turns and looks at me like this and goes, yeah, the view is amazing. And I'm like, girl, I may be wild, but I don't roll like that. She's looking at me like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, time to go. So I say, hey, gotta go, man. Right? I scramble off the mattress. She goes, no, not before I show you the cold cellar. I'm like, okay, fine. Let me see the cold cellar. Okay. So we go in this kitchen and there's the wall of the A-frame. And then there's this other slender wall with a huge door like this thick. She reaches down at the bottom, unhooks it, lifts it up with all her might and hooks it up on the wall. And I look down and there's these dirt stairs going down to like a wall with a shelf in it and then turning to go into this cold cellar. I'm thinking it's a place where they're storing food. So I go down the stairs and as I'm going down, I'm just like this. There's a shelf there with this piece of velvet. So I grab it to see what it is. I lift it up and it's a mask with eyes cut out of it.
Jeez.
I turn around and I go, hey, she's coming down the stairs. I go, what's this? And she goes, oh, that's my husband's Halloween costume. And I went, Halloween? I said, I thought y'all were Christians. Christians don't celebrate Halloween, do they? And I'm coming at her, right? And she goes, oh, it's just for a little bit of fun. And I go, all right. I put down the mask. I walk downstairs and I turn and I'm expecting to see all this food and everything else. There's nothing in the room. All that's in the room is this water tank, these beams, and from one of the beams, a noose is hanging from one of the beams. Now, the ceiling is very low. And underneath the noose, because if you're hanging from the noose and the ceiling's so low, there's a hole dug in the ground so that whoever's hanging from the noose won't have their feet touch the ground. And in the hole is dried blood. And I'm looking at this like this, and she's up there just babbling away. She's like, so when we built this, we brought in rock and dirt and cement, and we've got like 10 plus layers of all this stuff, so you could be down here and scream your head off, and nobody'd ever hear you. Okay, now, later on, I had to think, why is she telling me all this? I think they were trying to recruit me. I think she was trying to recruit me.
Wow.
Because the covens are always looking to recruit members. And I was the wild child. It was obvious. I was still coming down off the dope. I just came off the streets. I'm hiding from the police. I'm the wild child. Mm-hmm. I think she was trying to recruit me. So right at that moment she says that, her husband shows up. He sticks his head in the doorway where we come down and goes, what are y'all doing down there? What are y'all doing down there? And she goes, I'm just showing Katie the cold cellar. And he goes, get up here right now. And so we scramble up there, and I'm like, oh, it's time to go. And I go, hey, thanks for the ride. I'll take it back down. See you later. And I run out and grab on the snowmobile and go down. Okay, they don't show up to church again.
Yeah, they've been found out.
Because they've been found out. Okay, so then I don't even tell anybody then. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I don't even know what it all means. I didn't even know what it all meant.
Yeah.
You know? And about a couple weeks later, and I just texted that woman about this morning, me and her decide, because we would take trips to town and get food and stuff like that. I said, let's go down to that restaurant that's at the bottom of the dirt road. It's the place where the river meets. And during the season, people come with their boats and their jet skis and stuff. But during off season, it's just down there and the locals go to it. I said, let's go down there and get some food. I go, have you ever been there? She's like, no. I said, I've never been there either. Let's go down there and get something to eat. So we take her car, we go down there, and we walk in. And as soon as we walk in, it's full. The restaurant's full. We walk in and everybody goes, they're all eating and talking. And they go, and they stop and stare at me and this woman and don't move and don't say nothing. It was straight out of a movie. They're like mid putting the spoon to their mouth and going, the cook, he comes and takes the order and he's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I tell him what we want. And he's over there cooking like this, staring at us while he's cooking. And then I start, because I have a full attitude. street thug. So I start doing this, like staring back. I'm like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm like pushing my friend behind me, like, get behind me. I'm like, get behind me, stay behind me. And so I'm like staring them all down. They're staring us all down. Nobody says a word. And the guy that owns the A-frame, that said, what are y'all doing down there? Is there. He was standing up like he was speaking to everybody before we walked in.
Wow.
He doesn't say something like, hey, haven't seen you since you've been at the house. He doesn't
Good to
say
see
nothing.
ya.
Nothing. He's boring in.
Wow.
He's boring in, right? And I'm looking at him and he doesn't even he's just like, woof. And so we get the food and we back out of the place and go and run to her car, get in and start driving. He comes out and follows us, gets in his truck and chases us back up the mountain. Now, I texted her about this morning. I hope I can share all this without violating anything. She told me she's ready to share. She feels like she's ready to share her story. And I want to be careful.
Yeah.
But when I asked her, do you remember that day? She goes, I don't remember being in the restaurant. Because there's so much programming that when you have that, you go, right? She goes, but I remember being very afraid on the drive back home.
Jeez.
So, and he's chasing us. So then the road goes up like this, and then it makes this radical turn. But the property is right at the end of that. It goes up, and the property's right there. And then the road turns. We literally jump through it because we're moving so fast because this guy is full on chasing us. And he turns up the road. I turn and look and he's hanging out the window morphing. The werewolf was that guy. I was in that house. I was in their house.
Whoa.
Okay. So then they wanted to recruit me. So then they end up, they had a mountain lion that they got later on. Guess what they named it? Katie.
Shut up.
No, I have her text this morning. She told me. And it attacked a couple's son, and they called the cops on them. So what did they do? They found out that cops were coming because those covens the coven was in the restaurant that day.
Yeah.
That was the coven.
Yeah.
Okay. They're connected. They're in the fire department. They're in the police department. They tipped them off and they ran and they burned the A-frame to the ground because, you got to burn up the evidence.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so now get this. This is my last story, right? How much time do I have?
No, don't tell me that. You got 25 minutes. You're good. Keep going.
Okay. So there also happened to be a witch that lived in that same mountain. Years later, me and her get into this huge conflict. I won't tell the details because I don't want to harm anybody involved. But we get into this huge conflict, and I realized what had happened was I got put on the cover of Charisma magazine. That's really hard to do, to get on the cover of Charisma. It was about my metal miracles, God's metal miracles, let me say that way. And this person got jealous. And I started being attacked, and I didn't know why. I started aging really rapidly, and I couldn't figure out why. Years later, I go back up there to visit people that I knew, and I see this person, and she's older than me, and she looks like she's 30. And I can see a demonic glow of light, because Satan is an angel of light, around her. And I'm now keyed off in the spirit. This person has been siphoning me off like gas. I go, you look good. She goes, yeah, nobody ever gets old in my house. I'm like, yeah, because witches and warlocks siphon off youth, life, and energy from Christians because Christians have rivers of living water. We become their source for life, energy, and youth. And as they siphon us off like siphoning gas, we get older. We age. We get sick. Okay. Now, I used to be a siphoning expert. Okay. Anywhere I went, I never ran out of gas. I had a gas can and a thing of hose. Girlfriend knows how to siphon gas. So this is what they do. They siphon you. But you have to have something in common with them. You have to be prideful or bitter or traumatized or whatever. And they siphon you off like gas so that they get younger and younger and you get older and sicker and everything else. Okay, so I kind of had it out with this person. And it was a full-on demonic attack. She ends up actually, I finally caught her red-handed astral projecting into my house. Now this is where I want to bring in the animal spirits.
Okay.
I did see her with my eyes. I didn't just know. I knew she'd been attacking me. But now I got my guard up. I know what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
So I come home from this huge encounter that we had. Demons were released. I'm literally like having to slay demons and stuff like that. I come home and I go into worship for weeks. For weeks, I would worship for like 3 hours, 4 hours,
That's
5
key.
hours, 6 hours, right? I'm worshiping. And what happened is, see, what they do is they find your signature to be able to trace you to where you're at so they can astral project into your home or wherever you're at, right? Okay. The washing that came with all the worship washed away her ability to locate me. That was one of the many things it did. There's more than that. It helps because I got bitter. Simon the sorcerer had bitter iniquity in his heart. If you let yourself get bitter about the attack, you just open the door to them continuing to attack you. They want you to get bitter so that they can continue
Vicious cycle.
to have a legal right. Exactly. Vicious cycle. Okay. So I'm washing, I'm getting the signature washed away in the spirit. I'm getting my soul washed. I'm repenting of any bitterness. I'm fighting in the spirit, but trying to keep myself in the natural, not offended, not upset. This person has been draining me for years, right? And so after about 2 weeks of this, one night I finally said, I think I reached a good point here. I'm going to turn off the worship. And I don't want anybody to think that this is going to happen to them, but this is how vigilant these witches stay. She was waiting for that moment.
Check out the rest of the interview and check out her website. She is really incredible, and she actually teaches people how to cast out demons, which is so important in today's world. And if you want to know more about the werewolf, dogman, bear wolf, whatever this thing is, check out Linda Godfrey's website. Linda Godfrey, who spent decades gathering evidence, interviewing witnesses, including police officers, publishing multiple books on werewolves. One notable book, The Beast of Bray Road, you may have heard of. You can check out her website. It is full of information. Here she is there. Sadly, she died in 2022. Here is a drawing. Never in a million years would I be saying that werewolves are real. But you know what? They are. Vampires are real. Reptilians are real. Greys. Giants. We've been lied to for a long time, friends. So we got some catching up to do. And I'm going to help to catch us all up. And please share whatever information you have as well. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Ow! Good Lord. Oh my goodness. What a wild reality.